Morning, everybody. Where did you begin? Where did your story, the story of you, begin? Is it a birth story? Did you begin before that when your own unique mix of DNA was created? Did you begin further back in history? Are you part of a great and noble race, a shoot from a distinguished family tree? Some of us are not as old as our bodies. Maybe you began the day of the great awakening in your own mind, or the day you met your soulmate. Some of you began the day that you became a Christian. Beginnings, whatever they are important. They tell us who we are, and they often tell us where we're going in this life. We are the creation of our roots. It takes a lot to climb to the dizzy heights of a profession if you began your life in a low-income family, in a poor part of town, or even maybe as a woman. The Bible has a beginning, and some of us know it by heart. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. What a beautiful beginning. A divine creator who stares down at nothing until there is something beautiful. It's the most important kind of beginning, a story that shows us God staring down on chaos and turning it into a thing of beauty. Because when the world feels like chaos, when we find ourselves trapped in a formless void, the void of loss or grief or despair, when God seems to us to be nowhere, in that time when we are desperate for a new beginning, we have this story. We have a creating God who reshapes the chaos into order, into beauty. Beginnings happen every day. Just a couple of years ago, School Strike for Campaign for Climate began with Greta Thunberg standing in front of the Swedish Parliament in Stockholm, August 2018, bearing a sign. She was all alone. School Strike for Climate rapidly grew, and Greta became a household name, an instantly recognisable face. We may identify with her ideologies and frustrations. We live in a world of big things, big forces, big governments, big companies, big banks. Some days it feels like people have no power. Some days it feels like people don't matter at all. But then a little, small, young teenager brings things to the fore and begins to change world-changing things. Whether it's an international movement or a neighbourhood watch that you are part of, wherever people stare into the chaos, when we speak and create order, we echo the voice of the Creator God, who brought new life from a murky deep. Beginnings are important. They tell us who we are, and they tell us where we're going. One of the mistakes often made when the Bible is read is that we think that the Bible only has one beginning. In fact, it's a book of dozens of beginnings, and many of them echo the same theme: God creating order out of chaos. Then we think about the significance of John the Baptist. He appeared in the wilderness shouting, demanding that people rise up to take responsibility for their lives and for the state of the world. John didn't appear in a world where everything was going well. In a world scarred and disfigured by the oppression of the many by the few, by state-sponsored violence, by greed, by exploitation, by the powerful of the powerless. John showed up there, standing in the waters of the Jordan, rebuking people to see the chaos around them and to make a change. And then Jesus wades in next to him. Jesus stood, looked down, and saw his own reflection in the face of the deep. It was creation happening all over again. The wind blew down that river as John scooped up the water and poured it over Jesus. A voice broke the silence. You are my child. With you I am well pleased. And just as before, there was light in the darkness, as it was in the beginning. Here God was in the world, wresting order from chaos. There is no chaos that God cannot turn into something beautiful. Beginnings matter. They tell who we are and whose we are. They tell us where we are going and even who we will meet when we reach the end. As it was in the beginning, it is now and ever shall be, a world without end. Amen.